Join me in a comfortable seated position, and you can place your hands on your knees or the floor or wherever feels most comfortable and natural. And we'll take a few deep breaths here to set our intention for the practice and ground ourselves in the present moment. Bring the soles of the feet to touch, and then maybe place some gentle pressure on your knees with your hands to open up the hip flexors. And then bring your hands together and we'll do some wrist rolls, switching directions whenever feels good for you. Then we'll introduce some shoulder rolls, so starting with rolling the shoulders up and back, and then switching directions up and forward. And then introduce some neck rolls. Once again, switching sides whenever feels good for you. Make your way to sit on your shins, and we'll take the right hand to the left knee and the left arm comes up and over the head for a side body stretch. And we'll switch sides, so the left arm goes to the right knee and the right arm goes up and over the head. And then sit up on your shins and find a baby back bend with your arms in cactus pose. Moving through tabletop, we'll go into some cat-cows. On an inhale, arch the back, lift the chin and shift the gaze to the ceiling, and on an exhale, round the back and draw the belly in towards the thighs. Continue moving through your cat-cows, making sure that you are aligning your breath with your movement. Whenever you're ready, you can implement any kind of movement that feels good here. So I'm doing some hip circles, bending almost back all the way into child's pose, flipping my wrists. So whatever feels natural and good for your body, feel free to implement that here. Moving into the power portion of the class, we'll come into a neutral tabletop pose, and then lift the right arm and the left leg and engage the core as you meet your knee with your elbow. We'll do this 6 more times, making sure we're activating the core by compressing or rounding the spine as we draw the knee to the elbow and neutralizing the spine as we extend our arm and leg. Switching sides here, we'll extend the right leg behind us and the left arm in front of us. Then move through these tabletop crunches 6 more times. Returning to a neutral tabletop with your feet flexed, push through the toes into a balancing tabletop pose. There's a little space between your knees and the mat. And then start to lift one foot and then the other foot, just a few inches off the ground. Returning back to a neutral balancing tabletop pose, push back into a downward dog. If you're feeling tight in the hamstrings, feel free to walk out your dog, bending one knee and then the other. And really push through the shoulders here to get a nice flat back. And if your knees are bent or your heels aren't all the way to the mat, that's perfectly okay. Inhale, lift the left leg high and then bend the knee and flip over into Wild Things, extending the left arm out behind you, reaching for that wall. As you flip back over, keep the left leg bent and then plant that foot in between the hands. Chest rises first. Inhale, arms come up for high lunge. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale here and then straighten out that front foot and reach for your shin, the ankle, or the mat. Extend your free arm high to the ceiling, and then slowly start to scooch that back foot in and begin to lift it off the mat slowly, coming into half moon. Your chest and torso should be opened up to the side, so a way to do this is to roll the shoulders open, shift the hips, and turn your gaze to the side. Last inhale here, and then exhale, step back that foot into warrior 2. Inhale, flip the hands, exhale, reverse warrior, maybe finding a small bind by grabbing the inside of your hip and thigh. Cartwheel the hands to meet the mat, step back into a plank position. Hold here for 3, 2, 1. On your next exhale, slowly lower down to the mat in chaturanga, making sure to keep the core engaged. Untuck the toes, lift the chest, arch the back, cobra pose. Exhale, push the floor away for downward dog. On your next inhale, lift the right leg high up to the sky, and then open the hip and flip the leg over into wild things. Once again, reaching for that back wall. Flip over with the right leg still bent, and then plant that foot in between the hands. Inhale, chest lifts first, arms rise. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale here, and then reach for the ankle, shin, or mat, and the left arm comes up above the head, reaching for the ceiling. Start to draw that back foot in towards your body as you shift the weight to the front foot, and eventually lift off that back foot into half moon pose. Making sure to open up the heart space here. Step back into warrior 2, and then flip the hands for reverse warrior, maybe grabbing the inside of the thigh or hip for a little bind here. Then cartwheel the hands down to frame the foot, step back into plank position, and hold here for 3, 2, 1. Then slowly lower down for chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, untuck the toes, exhale, downward dog. Take one inhale here, and on your exhale, step or float to the top of your mat. Take a forward fold here, maybe even binding the hands behind the shins and grabbing opposite elbows. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Utkatasana or chair pose. Shift your weight into your heels and raise your arms above your head. Bring your hands in prayer to heart center, and on your next exhale, twist to the right, trying to get your thighs as parallel to the mat as possible. Stay here if this feels comfortable for you, or if you'd like, you can open up the arms. Inhale back to center with hands in prayer, and exhale, twist to the left side, staying here or opening the arms up. Remembering to twist to open up the heart space, making sure that the knees are together and one isn't projecting itself forward more so than the other knee. Inhale back to prayer in Utkatasana, and then widen your stance to about mat width distance for a yogic squat. As you lower down, bring your hands in prayer pose, and then use your elbows to push out each knee to stretch out the hip flexors. Then take hold of the left knee with the right hand and reach the left arm up and over to get a side body stretch. Then switch, so take your left hand to the right knee and reach over with the right arm. Then lift your hips to the height of your knees, and we'll take 4 pulses in a squat pose. On your next exhale, forward fold, and then come back into a child's pose. We'll take 3 inhales and exhales here as a brief intermission in the practice to reground ourselves and come back to our intention for the practice. On your next inhale, push back up into tabletop and then into downward dog. Lift the left leg high to the sky, and then bend that leg and place it in between the hands, dropping that back leg to the mat. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, arms come out to the sides for easy twist pose in low lunge. Inhale, flip the hands. Exhale, reach that back hand to the thigh, and the left arm comes up and over the head. Frame the feet with the hands, and then untuck the back foot and come into a plank position. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shift the weight to the toes as you lean forward, and then slowly lower down for chaturanga. Inhale, untuck the toes, cobra pose. Exhale, push the floor away for downward dog. Inhale, right leg lifts this time. Exhale, bend that knee and plant that foot in between the hands. Drop that back leg. Inhale, arms come up to rise. Exhale, arms come out for easy twist pose and low lunge. Reach that left arm to your thigh, and then the right arm comes up and over the head for a reverse pose in low lunge. Frame the feet once again, and then step back into a plank position, holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then once again, slowly lower down for chaturanga, leaning forward first and then lowering down. Inhale, cobra. exhale and tuck the toes, downward dog. On your next exhale, still in downward dog, place the forearms on the ground for puppy pose. Then step back into a plank position on your forearms, and then back into puppy pose. Go through 3 more of these transitions at your own pace, and then meeting back in forearm plank, lift the right foot off of the mat and out to the side, and then do the same thing on the other foot, moving through this transition 3 times. Then once again, meet me in a child's pose, this time a wide-legged child's pose, with the knees about mat width distance apart and the toes touching. Take 5 breaths here, and with each breath, find yourself surrendering deeper and deeper into the pose, opening in the shoulders and through the spine. When you're ready, move through tabletop and then to a standing forward fold and grab opposite elbows for ragdoll pose. Taking whatever movements feel good here, maybe nodding your head yes or shaking your head no. Then coming into a wide-legged straddle pose, still standing, using the opposite side of your mat, and bind the hands together behind the back as you slowly lean forward with a straight back. Feeling that tension in your back dissolve as you breathe deeper into the pose. And then place your hands on the ground and walk your hands over to meet your right foot, and then walk your hands over to meet the left foot. Feeling the elongating of the side body here. Bring the hands back to neutral in front of your body, and then slowly start to walk the hands behind you, behind your legs, and pull the floor in towards your body. If you need to, heel toe the feet back together, and we'll meet with our feet together at the top of our mat, Samastiti. Find a seat on the ground with the soles of your feet to touch in butterfly pose. And then slowly recline onto your back to find reclined butterfly pose. Stay here, or you can wiggle in the shoulders closer to each other so that there's space between your upper back and your mat to find a nice and relaxing heart opener here. Return to your intention and become conscious of the breath as we wrap up this practice and get settled in for some relaxation. You can place the hands by your side or maybe on your thighs or knees with some gentle pressure to open up the hips even more. When you're ready, bring the knees into your chest, grabbing hold of the outside of your feet, drawing the knees to either side of your torso and feeling that stretch in the hip flexors and the release of tension. And then either stay here or maybe start to rock side to side or back and forth. And then straighten out the right leg, and the left leg bends and comes over the right leg for a supine twist. The arms come out in a T and the head turns and the gaze shifts to the left, making sure you are anchoring both shoulders to the mat. And when you're ready, straighten out the left leg and the right leg bends and comes over the left leg for a supine twist on the other side. The arms come out into a T and the head turns and the gaze shifts to the right. And whenever you're ready, straighten out both legs and come into our final pose, which is Shavasana. Keeping the hands, palms facing upward for giving or receiving energy, or palms face down for grounding. Or if you'd like to focus on your breath, you can place one hand on the heart and the other on the belly. Finding complete and total stillness here, incorporating some mindfulness, noticing what sounds you hear or how the body feels, and remembering to listen to it even after you get off your mat. And when you're ready, push yourself up and come to a comfortable seated position. Maybe the legs are crossed or in butterfly, whatever feels comfortable. Then bring the left hand to the right knee and find a small little twist here, and the gaze shifts behind your right shoulder. Come back to neutral, and then the right hand comes to the left knee, finding another twist here as you turn your head and shift your gaze over your left shoulder. Coming back to neutral, we'll inhale here, root to rise, arms come up above the head, hands come into prayer, and then press your thumbs into your third eye. My mantra for the day is this: I am grounded even in times of uncertainty. My soul is constantly growing and expanding, and will adapt to any life changes, obstacles, and fears that challenge what I know but make me who I am. On your next exhale, bring the hands to heart center. The light in me sees, honors, and believes in the light in you. Namaste.